Hey, have you ever wondered why anything actually lasts? I mean, seriously, why doesn't the entire universe just instantly dissolve into random noise the second it forms? Think about it. Why can a beautifully built sandcastle completely disappear in 5 minutes under a single wave, while a mountain just sticks around taking a beating from the wind and rain for literally millions of years? And, it's not just physical stuff like rocks and sand. Why do some friendships just sort of fade out in a week, while others survive years of arguments and distance? Well, today we are going to explore a surprisingly simple idea drawn from some truly fascinating physics that might actually explain all of it. It's called persistence. Basically, it turns out the universe has this quiet, built-in bias toward things that can, well, keep existing. It's a fundamental preference for stability over chaos. So I want you to imagine the whole universe is inside this giant, invisible, kind of living bubble. Let's call it the coherence shell. Now, this shell isn't solid. It's a lot more like a really clever, slightly sticky gel that really likes staying in one particular relaxed state. Everything we see, atoms, trees, planets, even your own thoughts, is just a little pattern inside this gel trying to hold itself together. Okay, let's dive right into section 1, the 3 rules of the game: depth, stiffness, and viscosity. In physics, they actually call these General Emergence Mechanics, or GEM for short. But let's break that down. Think of it like this. First, you have depth. That's basically how much punishment a thing can take before it just completely breaks. Second is stiffness. How strongly does it push back when you poke it? And third is viscosity, or relaxation time, which is just how quickly or slowly it bounces back after being shaken up. And this brilliantly maps to reality. Take an empty crisp packet, right? It has almost zero depth. One squeeze and it's permanently ruined. Then look at a spring. A spring has great stiffness. You push it, it immediately pushes back. And then you have honey. Honey has high viscosity. If you stir a jar of honey, it takes absolutely ages to settle down again. The source material puts it perfectly. The universe is basically running a giant invisible game, where the winners are the patterns that manage all 3 of those pretty well. Existence itself is a high-stakes game of persistence. If you manage to balance your depth, stiffness, and recovery, you get to stay. If you don't, well, you dissolve. Moving on to section 2, playing the game, from biology to evolution, and how life navigates the coherence shell. What's really wild here is that your own body and mind are playing this exact same game right now. Think about a healthy, well-slept teenager. They are giving their personal coherence shell deep reserves, strong stiffness, and great recovery. But take that same teenager, make them stressed out, exhausted, and doom-scrolling at 2 a.m., and suddenly their shell gets incredibly shallow, soft, and much slower to bounce back. That is exactly why some days you feel super solid, and other days, everything feels like it's falling apart. Researchers actually call this a biological coherence pod. Basically, your well-being isn't about just sitting perfectly still. It's entirely about bouncing back. Stress literally stretches your personal bubble, and recovery is just you successfully snapping back to a safe, stable shape. And if we zoom out and scale that up, Darwinian evolution itself follows these exact same persistence mechanics. It's a clear step-by-step process. Step 1, random mutation explores the landscape, just testing out new configurations. Step 2, natural selection steps in as a coherence filter. So it's actually not just survival of the fittest, it's survival of the coherent. And step 3, extinction. That happens when a biological configuration just falls below the persistence threshold. Entire species are really just complex patterns, trying to keep their structural integrity above the water. Let's scale this up even further to section 3, the ultimate scale: gravity, time, and the multiverse. So time isn't just some ticking clock running in the background. It's actually just the emergent local pace of that sticky cosmic gel trying to relax and settle down into a minimum state. That is exactly why gravity can warp time. Different parts of the gel are literally relaxing at different speeds. So under this framework, gravity is acting like a deep pit in our coherence shell. It's an effective depth gradient. When you drop an apple, it's not just falling into empty space. The universe is actually pulling it into a deeper, safer, more stable basin of existence. Now, this next part completely blew my mind. The underlying math for all of this, which is known as modal theory, does not predict some sprawling, infinite multiverse. Nope. It predicts exactly 3 universes, all based on one underlying geometric structure. Just 3. No more, no less.
These three universes sit at different mathematical angles: the 60-degree basin, the 180-degree basin, and the 255-degree basin. They have entirely different physics, different atomic structures, even different arrows of time. But the really wild part? The walls between them are infinitely deep. So while they are mathematically real, we can never, ever reach them.
So, you're probably wondering, why are we in the 255-degree universe? Well, because it happens to be the deepest well. It natively supports the richest persistence conditions. It's a brilliant built-in anthropic principle. Our specific universe happens to have the exact perfect depth, stiffness, and viscosity required to support complex chemistry, biology, and ultimately conscious observers like you and me.
Which brings us to Section 4, the final level, winning the game of existence.
So the next time you look up at the night sky or watch a wave wash away a sandcastle at the beach, I want you to remember this. The entire universe is quietly playing the exact same game you are. Whether it's a massive planet, a new friendship, or a teenager just trying to get a good night's sleep, everything is simply trying to keep its head above the waters. Everything is just trying to stay coherent, just a little bit longer.
Everything that lasts is winning that game. That is what existence truly means. You are a stable pattern in a universe that genuinely wants you to persist.
Which leaves us with one final profound question to think about. How will you play the game of persistence today? Think about your own depth, your stiffness, and your recovery. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time as we continue to break down the incredible mechanics of our world.